Hello, my sewing friends. I'm back with one of those quick little tips that I've been sharing with you that makes my sewing life easier, and hopefully it will yours too. I want to talk to you about gingham. Let me start by saying many thousands and millions of years ago, when dinosaurs walked the earth, I worked for Joann Fabrics. And one day I had a customer who was buying some gingham. And so here I was gonna just rip right through it with my scissors, and my manager came over and said, wait, gingham, you need to cut on the straight of grain, which is a straight line following the checks in gingham. Well, gingham has been around for centuries, literally. So let me tell you a little bit of a history about it, and then I'll talk about why it's such a great thing to have around, because it helps you in your sewing. Gingham is a mid-weight balanced plain woven fabric. It's made of carded, medium or fine yarns where the coloring is on the warp yarns and always along the grain. Originally it was striped, but it later appeared as checked or plaid, and you might remember Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz wore a blue gingham dress. Gingham is different from plaid in that it is more symmetrical. And let me explain here. I've got a plaid. You can tell this plaid is woven in such a way that the checks are all different sizes. But here I've got some gingham, and you can tell that the checks are all the same size. So that's how it's different from plaid. Now the thing about gingham is that it is a woven, but it is not a print. And what I mean by that is that the actual yarns are dyed before the fabric is woven together. Here's a piece of quilting cotton that I have, and it's printed, which means that the wrong side of the fabric doesn't look like the right side. And that's because they took what looks like white and maybe another color of yarn and wove it together, and then they took it and they printed this picture on top of the already woven fabric. So, or they dyed it in such a way, but it was after it was woven. Whereas with gingham, it's the same on either side, and that's because the yarns are colored before they're woven in, and so of course the color goes all the way through like that. Gingham commonly comes in checks that are increments of 1 inch. So you'll have a 1/16, an 1/8, a quarter, a half, and 1 inch sizes. Years ago, when I had a great looking sewing room, it was fantastic, I had a table that was made from an old hollow cord door and a pair of sawhorses. And I covered it in 1/4 inch gingham. And I did that because I knew that anytime I wanted to line anything up on a straight line, there was my line already. So what I've done here is put down some that I just had laying around. This is 1 inch gingham, this is 1/8 inch gingham, and this is 1/16 inch gingham, and they kind of get smaller. That was all I had. I didn't have any 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. But the tip that I have for you is that if you take gingham and you put it on top of your surface where you have to either iron or cut or lay out or whatever you have to do, it's a great measurement tool. So if I just even need a straight line, I know I can follow this straight line and that I can fold it over, and now I can essentially follow this straight line and make sure that my ends line up with my 1 inch marks, you know, my 1 inch line. If I want to use an 1/8 of an inch, which is what this is, then all I have to do is line it up here and down here and kind of follow that straight line, and all of a sudden I don't need a seam gauge. It is a great tool when you don't have a precise measuring tool to hand. If you just need to see, I need that folded straight in a straight line and it needs to be pretty accurate, your gingham will do that for you. So that's my quick tip. Make use of gingham. If you can cover your ironing board in it, you can cover your cutting surface in it, but it is a great thing to have around just to make things a little straighter. So there's my quick tip. I hope that makes your sewing life a little easier, and that's it for now for me. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.